Okay, get ready with me while I tell you the story of how one time when I was in college, my car broke down and I ended up stranded on the side of the highway. Okay, this was about 6 years ago. I did 5 years of college, so I'd say I was about 21 at the time and I was only a sophomore. So I was a little bit behind the traditional schedule, probably by like 1 year. So I was probably 21. I think I was a sophomore. I was going to Towson, but I was commuting. I did not want to, number one, I did not want to live in a dorm. Number two, I did not want to cause my family to take out all these loans just for me to live in a shitty little dorm. Nobody likes living in dorms. Like, let's be real. Unless they're like a luxury apartment, nobody wants to do that shit. So, moving along, one day I was driving home from school, long day of school, long day of classes, long day of studying, right? And I'm on the highway. I'm like almost home. I'm 10 minutes away. And I hear this dun 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 dun. And I know that it's my wheel. Like I can feel a vibration coming from the left front wheel. It's like dun dun dun. So I'm like, okay. Well, obviously, I'm not going to be the one to be able to analyze the problem because I don't know shit about cars. So I'm like, I'll just make sure that I make it home and I'll tell my dad. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, that front left wheel goes clear across the whole highway. It goes across 4 lanes of traffic. And luckily, it didn't hit anyone. There was no car accident. I was so glad that nobody got hurt. But I was terrified because my car, so it went from going like straight, it fell down on an angle because it was missing a wheel. So the whole car went sideways. I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna die today. I'm like going forward still because I had so much momentum. The car didn't stop, even though I took my feet off the gas, obviously. The car wouldn't stop. It kept going forward. It was dragging on the left side because it had 3 wheels at this point. So the car is dragging, like there's sparks coming up. Like I'm pretty sure the car is about to flip and I'm about to die, right? So eventually it slows down, it doesn't flip. I'm like, thank God it didn't flip over. So I obviously am so shaken up. I did not see this coming. So I call my dad and he's like, well, I'm not going to take off of work. I'm not going to stop working just to help you, which I shouldn't have been surprised by that. Obviously, when was I ever his priority in the first place? Never. So I'm like, fine. So I hang up the phone, I call the police, and they did take me home. So the police ended up just taking me home. They did like their little report. Don't really know what the point was. It's not like a crime occurred. They did their little report, and I end up going home. Obviously, no car. I think for the next couple of days going to school, I had to drive my mom's car, which was just weird and a real inconvenience for all of us because we all had to like play musical cars. So it was just really funny because it's just weird how in life you never know what's going to happen to you. Not 5 minutes from now, not 5 days from now, certainly not a year from now. You never know what's going to happen to you. So it's like, yeah, enjoy life while you have it because, it could all end in a second like that. So I was just glad I didn't flip. I mean, I was so sure it was gonna flip. The car, it went so sideways so fast. Like, I went from being upright to being like all the way to the left so fast, and the car was dragging, and it was horrible. It was absolutely terrifying. Like, I was so sure it was gonna flip over onto its left side because the way that it was leaning so heavily towards the left, because there was no more wheel there. So why did this happen? I actually was able to figure it out. So my dad told me he had went to Mr. Tire, and these people are idiots. He had went to Mr. Tire. There's all these young boys who probably just graduated high school who are working there. They don't know shit about shit yet. They're too inexperienced, and they didn't screw on the lug nuts all the way. So what happened was every day while I was driving, they were coming a little bit looser and looser and looser and looser, and that was the day that they just popped off completely. So that was crazy. I told him, I hope you don't ever go there again, and he actually did. Being as hard-headed as he is and thinking that he knows it all, he said, I'm gonna keep on going there. He said, people make mistakes. Okay, well, I almost died. I guess that's just a mistake. To him it is, anyways. To me, I actually took it quite seriously, and I told my mom, and she was like, yeah, we're never going there again. If he chooses to go there, that's his choice. But my sister and my mom and I, we were all like, what the fuck? Those people must be so fucking stupid over there at that Mr. Tire. Because what the fuck have they done? All the damage was fixed for free because it was their fault. So, I mean, my dad could have sued them. He could have made money off of it, but he chose not to. He really wasn't like angry. I think I was the only one who was like upset that it even happened in the first place. Be right back. So yeah, that was the story of that. Crazy, crazy time. I don't know why I was thinking about that, but this morning I had some chores to get out of the way, and it was very hot, by the way. I had some chores to get out of the way, and while I was getting them done, I was thinking about that. I was like, remember that time when that van had the wheel fly off, and like, it really wasn't my car. Like, I was a broke college kid, so my dad was like, I'm gonna get a new car and I'm gonna give you my old van. So, like, I felt pretty lame driving it, but I was like, hey, it's a car. I mean, I didn't have any money, so I was like, hey, it's better than nothing. So I didn't complain. I drove the van for a while until I actually got a car. And so, yeah. So, the best part of that story was that I don't know why my dad did this. It was very cringy. He had put his name on the side of the van in big, bright letters. I don't know. I guess he thought it would bring him more business. Um, And like when the car crashed, like when the wheel flew off, what happened was the whole thing fell down on its side. So that side of the van with his name on it, it got so crushed up that when they were trying to fix the car, they decided to just take off his name off of it and repaint it because it needed all this body work. And so when I got the van back, like a few weeks later, his name was gone. And I was like, thank God. It was so embarrassing that it had his name on it because I was like, well, everywhere I go, people are going to think that I'm my dad, or vice versa. They're going to think that it's my business with the name on the side of it. And it was so embarrassing. And I was like, ugh. So, good things happen to those who wait. um, in other news, on Friday night, I saw the guy that ghosted me. And let me just say this, he is such a pussy. He saw me, so he didn't see me at first for the first few minutes. He was shopping, but then, like, when he was about to go to the register, I was coming up. Like, I was walking up, and he was up in the front of the store, and he kind of turned his head and saw me, and he, like, ran for the door. He, like, made his purchase and just, like, ran out the door, and I was like, you are such a pussy. Like, come on. I would respect a guy who could just say what he has to say. Like, if you got bored with me, say that. If you were no longer attracted to me, say that. If you got tired of me, if you met someone who was cuter than me, I don't care what the situation was, but the fact that he ghosted me with no explanation, and I even texted him, I even said, let's just be friends, and he ignored that message. So I was like, okay, so clearly you're an asshole. Good for you. You know what I mean? I think that you have karma coming for you. Like, I am a true believer in karma, so I feel like anytime that you put out negative energy into the world, it comes back to you. And I believe that anytime you put out positive energy into the world, it comes back to you. So, like, the fact that he treated me poorly, it's gonna come back to him if it hasn't already. I mean, he was with his friends, and I mean, I don't know those people, but I mean, if they're watching this, let it be known. Let it be fucking known. Your homeboy is a pussy and he's scared to communicate. So, yeah. I mean, fucking speak up. Don't be a little bitch. You got something to say, say it. People will respect you more if you say what's on your mind instead of just running away like a little puppy dog who's scared. What are you scared of? It's your life. Fucking take control of it.